All right, everybody, Billy Rainford, Direct Motocross here, once again with a Zoom interview. You can see that smiling face just beside me there. We have got Kevin Tyler here. We got some news to talk about with Kevin and stuff like that. Kevin, thank you very much for chatting with us here.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for taking the time. We're on a little bit of a lunch break here at summer camps.
Summer camps. Okay, so band camp. Okay, so we've got tons of stuff to talk about, obviously. When we're talking about your camps, we'll talk about what's going to San Diego. We'll talk about the big news, rider-wise, title sponsor stuff going on at your team and everything. But to get, like I always do, I like to back things way, way the heck up. Some people may not know. They see Kevin Tyler all the time at the races and everything, but they don't know his history. So let's take a moment to go back. This is your life, Kevin Tyler.
This is my life.
Let's do like I always do. How did you get started racing motocross?
So for me, bike started when I was 9. My parents bought me a KDX 80. My dad, being from England, had always ridden motorcycles his whole life. And I think really deep down, the biggest excuse was he wanted to get a bike again here. So by getting me one, that sort of enabled him to, oh, I need a bike to follow him around. And so we both ended up having bikes.
Okay, well, that's a pretty common story. I'm sure he call it scramble. You did some scrambles.
He did sidecar trials.
Oh, geez, what?
Yes.
Doesn't even make sense.
Yes, sidecar trials. So so completely different than sort of the norm, if you will. Got some pictures, pretty cool. He and Mom arrived at their wedding. He riding the bike, Mom in the sidecar in her wedding dress and stuff. That's how they rode away from the ceremony. So yeah, bikes are kind of ingrained in me for sure.
Wow, see, that's amazing. Well, this stuff seems pretty easy if you're not running sidecars then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the problem is if you only got 2 wheels to worry about, right? That's what he always said to me.
Okay, now my other favorite question I always like to ask is first number. What was your number and what's the story behind the first number you ever picked?
Oh man. I don't even know my first number. That's terrible. I know it was close to 59. It was probably like an assigned number, I think. Like, I don't remember why I would have picked it or any of that sort of stuff. But I know that I was sort of number 59, humping around on my little KDX 80 kind of thing. And that sort of stuck with me for a while. And then it turned into a 45, and I ran 45 for a while. And then when I sort of went semi-pro, if you will, into the intermediate ranks down in the U.S., I couldn't run a 2-digit, so I was assigned with a 0. And so I ran 450 for a long time. That was sort of my go-to 3-digit number when before I had any sort of real Canadian number. 450 was it.
See, I was number 45 too. I mean, your story was pretty terrible, really. You didn't have any reasoning for any numbers. Did you pick? I have a reason I picked 45.
Thanks, Bill. I've had a great week, and I love getting calls in and then just beaten down. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks.
I have a reason for the number 45. Why did you pick 45?
I don't know.
See this?
I don't know. But do you want me to lie to the people? I can lie to the people. We can come up with a story.
Watching.
But
nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. You're true. You're like Kevin Tyler. Everybody's like, next. We've heard enough from that guy. I don't really remember. I'm terrible. I don't have a fantastic memory like some of you guys, and Galdi was able to just spill stuff. I don't know, man. I just raced dirt bikes. I didn't really care what number it was on, as long as I got to ride it and race it somewhere. That's the truth.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I wish that was a better answer, but I'll edit something.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll
lie later. I'll lie later on and make a better answer.
No, I'm just going to dub something over your lips.
Dub something over it. Perfect. That worked too.
Okay. All right. Well, so how far up did you make it anyway? You, like you said, semi-pro and stuff like that. You raced, I know when I first met you, you always like to get out on the track on a 125 and scream that thing to bits. But what was your greatest year? How far up did you make it?
Well, Bill, I was a big deal. I was kind of like a big deal. Anybody that knows me will truly believe that, right? I mean, I think my claim to fame was my amateur year in Quebec, just coming off knee surgery. I'd taken a year off, and I came out and I was putting it to JSR at a Quebec provincial when we were intermediates, and I got tired because I hadn't been riding, not because I hadn't trained, just I hadn't been riding. So really, I made JSR who he is. If I had continued to really train hard, then he probably wouldn't have been the 5-time champ. So he does thank me every time we talk. He's bringing me a cake next week out here. It's, really, I brought it for him. But in terms of myself, I think that, you know, my biggest kind of things that I did in the world was I raced a lot of AMA Supercross and Motocross. I always joke with people that I got beat by the best there was. They never really had much of a threat for me. But I did, you know, I made night shows in Supercross. I never made mains until they brought it to Toronto and did a Canadians only, which wasn't real, I guess. But I did compete in a main event in the Supercross in Canada, well past my prime. And in the U.S. in moto, I managed to qualify at Southwick one year and finished just outside the top 30 in both motos. That was like as good as it got for me. That was back in the day when, you know, you'd have 140 or 150 guys trying to qualify, and they'd weed it down through qualifying races on Saturday, then weed that down through Sunday. So it was not saying it's easier today by any means to go out and get one lap time, but you had to race your way in. And we joke about me being the gas card champion. I honestly missed outdoors 5 times by one spot, you know, and I at Southwick that one day I put it all together and got in pretty easily right out of the motos or out of the qualifiers, no LCQs for me. And so that was pretty special down south. In Canada, I had a few 6th place finishes in motos. I think my best sort of overalls where I finished 9th one year in the 250 outdoor championship. I was 8th, I think, on the 500 that year, but unfortunately you had to ride all 3 to get a number. And my bone structure, I blame my parents for, held me back on the little 125. And I think I was like 18, 19, maybe 20th overall. So my best sort of overall combined number was a 17. So that was the best number I ever had on my bike, was a 17.
Okay, now it's tough to tell because you've got a really nice haircut, so we can't really tell how old you are. What years are we talking here?
So Southwick was 98, RM 250 in 98. Canadian stuff probably was 90, I think in like 96, 97. That was kind of way back then. If you remember the old 90s, that was sort of when I was going pretty good. And then 2000s, I took a bit of a break from doing the nationals while there was some changeover and things like that, and got a bit of a real job. But I kept racing right through till the 2008 Toronto Supercross. I did that one for some unknown reason.
Okay, 2008. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and see the photos. What number was on your bike that year?
Probably 463, I'm guessing. So I did the 450 stuff, and then when I got into pro AMA stuff, 450 was taken and it turned into a 463. So that's kind of the number that most people associate me with now, just because, you know, we're talking those 125 days at Sandali and stuff. That's what would have been on the bike. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's before we get to the stuff that's going on right now, let's talk about what you mentioned. You got camps going on. What's going on there? Sandali over there in the hamlet of Munster, Richmond or Munster?
Yeah. Hamlet of Munster, yeah. So I mean, I feel like we got robbed a little bit this year. I mean, this is our 50th anniversary out here, and we had some pretty big plans and things like that. And this whole COVID thing's put a bit of a damper on that. So I mean, we're kind of business as normal. We're open 5 days a week for regular riding. It has been extremely hot and dry here. I joked on Instagram yesterday that it hasn't rained for 4 million in 3 days. And that's what it feels like. It is absolutely a beach out here. We've drained most of the water on the property, trying to just keep the track dry or keep the track moist. And we started off, we've got our day camps happening. They started last week. We've got another one this week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are our day camps. And big crew this week. I mean, we're at 25. So it's a solid week of kids that are out here riding their dirt bikes.
And I say day camps, does that mean you have some coaching going on out there? What's going on?
We do. We definitely do it. Coaching is a big part of what we do in our camps for sure. That's why we keep the numbers at 25. I really kind of want to make sure that we have ideal numbers for getting these kids, better and safer on their bikes. So in terms of our instructors, we've got 8 out here. We got actually Billy Wright started with us this week, so he's going to be with us for the rest of the summer out here teaching and stuff. So Billy's here, Austin's here. We've got, Mitch, my son, and just a host of good kids. Brandon Brown's back, and Scotty Huff. So a bunch of our local guys that have been sort of through our program and doing our camps are out here instructing. So it's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's just so hot. I was just talking to someone from BC, and they're here now, or the kids are here now racing. and they are finding it extremely tough to get used to this. We're setting records for most numbers over 30 degrees Celsius. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been over 30 for 5 or 6 weeks now. I mean, it has been definitely hot. It is bringing the heat out here. Welcome to the East, kids.
Yeah, East, and again, we're going to be at Gopher Dunes. Obviously, people are going to be doing a dry run for the Nationals coming up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be chance of thunderstorms, so you know that's going to bring the humidity. If it's a chance of thunder,
yeah, it's going to be good. It is going to be an absolute prequel to the National, I think, this weekend. It sounds like just about everybody's going. It's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'll be there for sure. So that's going to be good. Now let's. Nice. Okay, so we're circling our way in towards our big story here with you. But how many MX101? Here's the how many number 1 250 places have you earned?
So national wise, what do we got? We got 2, I guess, 2 outdoor national championships with Pettis and Moffenbauer. Number 1s, you know, we won an indoor arena cross with Pettis out west in the Future West stuff. We got a Supercross championship with Pettis as well in the Jetworks series, and then we've got a Supercross championship with Renzland. So, you know, and we always take a bit of credit for Kennedy's run in the East as well for that women's championship a few years back. So, yeah, we got, you know, fairly decent collection of number 1 plates on the wall. It's fairly proud of that for sure.
Okay, now here's the kicker though. How many have you defended?
0. Yeah, 0. We have defended 0. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a setup. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, now that
how many? Let's go with how many people that have left our program have defended their championship successfully.
Okay, well,
0. Oh, the number is the same. So that's my only silver lining.
Do you feel better now? Do you feel?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, you know, I don't think there's any secret out there. Everybody knows that we are, you know, the smallest budget program that is running with some factory support. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to find, you know, those sponsors that align with you and believe in you and, you know, stick with you kind of thing. It's not easy.
Right. So okay. Now we are right down to the middle of we're here of the question we wanted to get to. Obviously, we've all seen the post from Luke Renzland. I mean, of course, Luke is now not coming back to race the motocross portion. As you're saying,
what?
Oh, sorry.
What post?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that before. Yeah, Luke's not coming.
No. Okay, I was kind of wondering. I was expecting him to come across the border today, and I hadn't heard.
Right? Yeah. Okay, no, but let's talk about that. I mean, okay. Tell us what's going on. I mean, you just kind of mentioned the cutbacks and everything. Take us through the thought process. I mean, he's a Supercross champ. What's the story there, Kevin?
I mean, it's rough. You know, it's a tough time in our industry, right? I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, you're kind of signing riders and getting ready back in October, November, and I thought that we were good, you know, with the program moving forward, and we signed Luke and we signed Marco, and you know, Jamie was on board to kind of you know, in a small support role to kind of bring him, start to get him into the feel of the pro ranks and things like that. And he'd won the Yamaha Factory Rider Award last year, so you know, in keeping with our trend with Yamaha, just to kind of keep supporting those guys and sort of move them forward a little bit. That's what we wanted to do. Hayden obviously was going to go try some AMA motocross, and you know, I told him that I would try and help the best I could with anything that we could do to kind of help him down there. So it's kind of, you know, a loosely sort of affiliated program with Hayden a little bit down there. And yeah, and so we kind of headed into January with that as our sense, and we're making plans. Luke was going to be down at Dreamland. Marco was going to go down and meet him. Jamie was going, bringing Austin with him, and that was going to be the 4-pack from here down there, just kind of putting in work with Cody to get them ready to come up here and slay the Nationals and, you know, Arena Cross and Supercross. And in January, when we were kind of tidying up things and getting ready to move forward, you know, the folks at Royal had kind of said that, you know, our program wasn't sort of path forward for them. So that, yeah, I mean, it caught me off guard a little bit, but I mean, I'm super grateful. They were with us for 2 years and it was awesome. But it's always, you know, it's tough, right? When a title sponsor walks away. And on this one, it caught me a little bit off guard, which is, you know, that's probably my fault for not doing enough background work on it. So I'll take that as a learning point for myself. And, you know, so then we started to scramble. I did, and trying to find a replacement. And then, of course, the world came to a grinding halt with the whole COVID thing. And so that really, nobody kind of knew what was going to happen. So, budgets went on hold, even for hard parts and things like that. It just kind of stopped. And so obviously I let my guys know that we were down, some major funding, but I was going to do my best to try and figure it out and work through it. And I had a couple of really good leads that I thought were going to pan out. And, of course, like I said, then the COVID stuff, and then it just went dormant. And then, of course, how do you go out and proactively sell something when you have no idea if it's really going to happen, right? I mean, obviously the crew at JetWorks was always scrambling, trying to get, sort of revision B, C, D, but I mean, that's tough to bring a new sponsor in with, okay, so this is what we think is going to happen, but this is the backup, and the backup for the backup is this. And so it's, just a sign of the times, and it was tough. And I got really close with a couple of companies, local companies in Ottawa that I thought were going to pan out, and, they didn't pan out. And as we kind of got closer, working on contingency and things like that, which is, how my guys get paid, it's performance pay. I don't have the money for big salaries, unfortunately. I mean, I wish I did, but we don't. And when the contingency dried up to, pretty much zero, a guy like Luke that, needs to make a living and, should be set fairly decently with our contingency plan, when it goes to zero, you ask a guy to come up here, and he's going to have to come up 2 weeks before quarantine, then go out and race, a 5-week schedule that goes over 8 weeks. So now he's up here for 2.5, 3 months on, and wins a championship and receives $0, other than some purse money, which, and again, right, we're doing this stuff as it's evolving. Is the purse going to be bigger? Is it going to be smaller? Is it going to be the same? I mean, you just don't know, right? So, we just kind of made the difficult decision together that it was time to just put it on hold. So, I mean, there's, it's not like he's been cut. It's not like he quit the team. We just kind of put it on hold. I mean, I try to be really decent with my guys in terms of, if opportunities arise and things like that, I'm open to them, taking them. And with this one, I mean, I just, in good conscience, how does he come up here? Last year he worked in between rounds. He'd go home to New Jersey, work for a few days, and that's how we made it work, sadly, but that's how we made it work. And, without being able to do that and just being locked here with no money, tough. So unfortunately, El Dozer won't be here to win some nationals.
All right. Well, and that was also $0 Canadian.
$0 Canadian.
All right. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So when, who kind of like, obviously you saw the writing on the wall with what you're going to be able to offer. Did you approach Luke and say, listen, man, things are kind of drying up, or did he how did that kind of?
I mean, we're pretty decent in communication the whole time. So, I mean, I was straight with my guys on, what was sort of happening and as it was unfolding. I hid a lot of stuff from them just because, just trying to get them to keep their heads down and do their job and let me do mine. And, I guess on this one, I failed a little bit, right? I feel like I let us down. But at the end of the day, we sort of made the decision together.
Okay. Now, and we were talking earlier, so maybe if things change and if we are able to do Supercross racing, there's a chance he might still, I mean, you're obviously still connected. He may come up and do some Supercross, or how does that?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why not? You know what I mean? Like we'll play it by ear. We'll play it by ear. I'd love to have him come up. He wants to come up. But like I said, I mean, and I know there's people out there, you know what I mean? And it's tough for sponsors and things like that have, invested time and product in it through the winter to get us kind of set and things like that. And, that's why we'll just do the best we can with the guys that we've got and make sure that we sort of go over the top and just try to make sure that we're providing some return on investment to the people that are with us. That's kind of the best we can do. And if things kind of turn around a little bit and we can get a little bit of help and, the Supercross stuff pans out, then, by all means, if he's ready, we're ready, then we'll come up and defend that number 1 plate.
All right. So, and also if anyone's watching this and knows someone who does own a company who is interested in being title sponsor for the MX101 team.
Absolutely. Yeah. We accept cash, credit card, checks, Visa, food stamps. Yeah. We're pretty open. I mean, it's tough, because as somebody wants to just help out a little bit and that is amazing. But as you know, I mean, dirt bikes, it's hard to get any return on investment unless you're sort of a very large logo. Those little logos get hidden. So, it's a tough world to kind of fulfill some return on investment. I mean, obviously if there's, some guardian angels out there that would like to help keep us going and help us get through this summer, it's obviously, that would be super appreciated. I've had a couple companies reach out that are going to do a little bit. So I think what we're going to be doing is running different shroud graphics each round in support of a couple people that have stepped up. So we've got one for Gopher already. We've got one for our round. So it's we'll be here. We'll be here.
Well, that's cool. So I guess this is the obvious question then is we talked a little bit before, but we weren't on here yet. But
yeah.
The plan, who are your riders? What's happening? We show up at Gopher Dunes. What's the rig? What's the deal?
So we're going to have the rig will be there. A little bit of a patch job on the graphics. May not look as fantastic and clean as some of them, but we'll make sure that we're giving the people that are helping out some love, and the people that aren't will be covered. So it's going to be a budget-minded year. So, I mean, it's not going to be anything big and fancy. I mean, we've got our rig. We'll probably have some white panels instead of blue with graphics on them on some of our skirts and things like that. And, I'm going to cut back on fancy team shirts and that sort of stuff. And, we'll just, everybody's sort of on the same board. Whoa.
Stop right there. What about the lunch?
I think it's BYOF. Bring your own food.
Now this is starting to hit close to home.
I know. I'm sorry. If there's any catering companies out there, we like chicken and rice. Yeah, it's we'll do what we can. I mean, we've got a great group of people, you know what I mean? And we'll be there. There'll be food for everyone. That's what we do. We're just, the good news is, besides all of this stuff that's sort of happening, whatever, the rest of our program was set. We were set back in April. All the bikes were built and paid for and all that sort of stuff. So, when we talk budget cuts and things like that, I mean, really it's going to come out of my pocket the deepest in order, I've already prepaid this stuff. So, we're going to use some of it.
Okay. Well, now rider wise, what do we do? We got an empty seat, Luke. Well, there's no seats. There's no seat empty, I guess. But
that's right.
What are you going to do rider wise?
So rider wise, we're going to, obviously Marco, Marco will be back for all the rounds and good to go. Hayden was up here training last weekend and was looking great. He's going to do a few, maybe all of them. We'll see. We'll see what his plans are, but he was definitely looking forward to, even before when he was looking at AMA, he still wanted to do Sandalee, Walton, and Gopher Dunes, of course. So those are the three that are definitely on his hit list. So he'll be there. We're going to have Jamie, obviously, his B-roll will still be in the truck helping out. And we've got Austin Jones that we're going to throw up an easy up beside the trailer and help him out too. Try and get him some notoriety and, let him get his feet wet in the pro class.
Okay, well, that's cool. Now, how about this weekend? We got the old dry run at Gopher Dunes. Any of your guys going to be down there? Who's going to be there?
So I think based on what I know, Marco will be there for sure. Probably going to run the race 250F unless it gets completely messy and thunderstorm. We don't want to drag that thing through a mutter, but we figured it would be a great shakedown on the race bike for him on that. Jamie's going to go. Austin's going to go. I think Hayden has to work so we can get some of the other weekends off. That was his plan when he was here last weekend anyways, that he wasn't going to make this one. I'm not sure if things have changed, but so we'll have a few out there racing anyways. Okay, well, that's great. Now,
over the years, there's been talk that maybe there were you guys were maybe pulling back, maybe you're going to keep going. You weren't, there's some maybe not 100% sure on the next year and stuff like that. A year like this, does it push you one way or another? Are you any less likely to be back, or is it just based on the finances?
Yeah, yes, for sure. Right? We've got the smallest budget out of the teams that we're competing with, no doubt. We do the best with what we can. If it doesn't turn around and budgets don't come back, the only thing that's keeping us in the game right now, to be honest, is that it's a smaller series and pretty localized in Ontario with, Deschambault being 3 hours. It's actually closer than the Ontario rounds for us. If we were going outside of that any further, we probably wouldn't be able to make it. So, things have got to turn around a little bit for us to kind of be there. But I think it's fair to say that, the motorcycle industry is on a high right now. I know there was, a deep dark spot with the COVID stuff and a bit of unknown, but dirt bike sales are hot right now. You talk to any dealer, they can't get bikes. You're talking to part manufacturers, they're back orders because everything's gone. So I'm really hoping that that's shown next year in the budgets that, we get back to normal and go racing.
Right. It's kind of strange. Like, it's like is that a double-edged sword? I'm not even sure if it is, but
Yeah.
I'll screw up my cliches here. But it's funny because the racing being so down and the racing budgets and everything getting pulled, the actual industry is just doing better than ever. Not ever.
Yeah, but it's strong. I mean, and I mean, you fully understand too, right? I mean, we're not going to have the return on investment for sponsors that we had going across the country and visiting all the provinces and doing that indoor series and things like that. I mean, you know, as a group, we're all trying to do the best we can, the 3 motos, to make sure that the outdoor national series is legit. But I really think this year, out of all of them, with everything else being not going, all eyes are going to be on us in Canada, right? I mean, we're going to have, with the live TV package, all of, you know, anybody that's a race enthusiast in the U.S. is going to be watching what we're doing. So, you know me, I'm an optimist. I'm hoping that that's good things, and that, you know, some of these marketing guys in the U.S. actually see it and, wow, you know, this Canadian stuff is pretty legit. And, you know, with the TV packages the network's got, that, you know, it really does find some value. Let's hope for that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, good silver lining, Kevin.
Silver lining, buddy. That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you very much for talking about that. It's interesting. I mean,
problem.
man, it's just a crazy time. It's just the weird. I see corn. It's like the corn around here is super high. I still feel like it's spring. I feel like we completely missed spring. Like, I feel like
it definitely feels weird that we are in July now. You know what I mean? And kind of feel like we just got going. So, yeah, just a super strange year. And I think I keep telling everybody around here, like, it's just, you know, survival is the key right now. I mean, it's tough, you know, for us being a seasonal business. You know, 6 months is kind of our running time out here in the Ottawa area, and we lost a month and a half of that. So it's you know, we've really tightened down around here. I know, like, for me personally, you know, I wasn't at the track as much last year. I was a little more focused on the team and doing that sort of stuff. And I've been here basically 8 in the morning till 8 p.m. every day, you know, staffing and running the track to try and save some expenses on my end, just so that, you know, we're strong and healthy for next year as well.
All right. Well, are you going to hop in a vehicle? Are you going to hop in a car and come down for this weekend, or what?
No, I'm going to be working. I'm here managing the track this weekend, but Cale's done his quarantine as of Friday. So I think he's going to come up with his brother Rylan and help out Jamie, Austin, and Marco. So the important part of the team will be there. I'm just a cheerleader.
How about that Rylan Foster hole shot last week?
I know, right? The boy can rip them. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. That was good.
All right, Kevin. Well, why don't we leave it there, man? Thank you very much for taking the time and into your lunch break there. Hope your sandwich isn't cold.
No, it was good. I crammed it down before we got here. So.
All right. Well, before we go, as we always ask, do you want to thank anyone? I mean, let's thank some people who are still there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously it's bittersweet this year that we did have some departures and things like that, but I mean, we're still riding those blue bikes, and we're still going to try to put them up in the front. You know, FXR has been behind us since they kind of came back into the motor world, both barrels blazing back in 2015. So, you know, obviously they're still there. A lot of our other stuff is going to be, you know, very similar in terms of our sponsors and things like that. And a lot of them have just been great to us in terms of, you know, continuing on with our product, even with sort of Luke leaving, you know what I mean? They've been super supportive that they're behind MX101, which, you know, it's kind of been very true for a lot of our sponsors through this. You know, obviously, it's no secret. We've had some guys where we've had great success, and then they've looked for greener pastures, and it hasn't really affected our sponsor stuff. Everybody still, you know, believes in what we're doing, and you know, that's all you can ask for. So thanks to everybody for sticking behind us. And, you know, again, as you said, if anybody's out there is looking, you know, Kevin at MX101.ca, and let's see if we can put something together. That would be great.
All right. Hey, one last question. Marco's hair, is he growing it back? Come on, you gotta get the long hair.
No, man, I'm trying to get him to shave it. I want lean, mean Marco. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Well, none of this in between stuff. It's either got to be long or shaved. Okay. It's kind of in between right now. See, that's going to be a letdown. Okay, man. Well, hey, we'll do as much coverage as we can this weekend. That's thank you. So you can, you know, I do photos in the morning, first motos, and then I do videos in the afternoon. It's kind of the only way I can do it. So understood. So hey, we appreciate it. We appreciate everything you do, Billy. I was just itching for a thank you there. And I'm kidding. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Billy.
All right, buddy. Hey, well, thank you very much for chatting with us. Thanks for taking the time. Get back out there in the heat.
Yeah, man.
It's rough out there. And,
Yeah, it's warm.
Thanks to 100%, by the way. They were the.
We love 100%.
There you go.
We
All right.
love that whole crew 100%.
Okay, man. Thanks, Kevin. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks. Talk soon, Billy.
Bye-bye.